what you've seen in Europe and what you're seeing in the United States is that the very last vestiges of the masks have fallen away, and the two slathering, ravening wolves that are facing off against each other are the European, primarily royal family, royal bloodline Rothschilds. And when we say the Rothschilds, starting with Meyer Amstel as a consortium there of everybody thinks it's a Jewish or Zionist conspiracy. The Rothschilds, yes, who were Jewish, maybe make like 5% off the true money, which is actually all the royal bloodlines. There's House of Windsor, the House of Habsburg, Queen Beatrix in the Netherlands, King Carlos of Spain, whatever. That's all the real money. This is the money from the de Medicis back like 500 years ago. So now you have the royal bloodlines run by the Rothschilds on the one hand, and you've got the Bush, Clinton, Rockefeller crime syndicate on the other. And now they're going to the mattresses because now it's sort of like it's like a fight between the Sopranos and the Corleones. You've got basically a couple of gang families. They've now shaken out all the other little minor gangs, and now you have these two banks. You've got basically the Rothschild-controlled Citibank on the one hand and the Rockefeller-controlled Bank of America, on the other hand, which is Standard Oil, and these two wolves are now beginning to face off. The good news is that this whole New World Order construct that they've been trying to put together, which is in essence based on the book 1984. Eric Blair or George Orwell, who wrote the book 1984. 1984 was not a warning. 1984 was a blueprint. I mean, there's a reason why it was Hillary Clinton's favorite book. The point of 1984 is they want to divide the entire world into three massive superstates of Asia, Eurasia, and Oceania, which is the United States, China, and England as Oceania, and have three global currencies, have the euro, have the Amero, which is a money system for Canada, the United States, and Mexico, which they're minting now in Denver and will probably introduce as a binary currency here in the United States. You'll have Federal Reserve notes on the one hand and Ameros on the other hand actually trading inside the US, and probably the Chinese yuan in Asia, and just divide the entire world into these three massive power blocks. The good news is that being given so much rope, they're now hanging themselves, and everything's falling apart. Everything's just, the whole New World Order system as we know it has now literally collapsed under the weight of its own greed. So that's kind of what you're seeing. The European Union fell apart because there is no such thing as the European Union without the Germans. And when Iceland went bankrupt and they confiscated their banks and they closed their stock market and the whole thing, France went bankrupt, Spain's been bankrupt for a year, Italy, hell, they've been bankrupt since the Second World War. England hasn't wanted any part of it. The Irish, very wisely, did not even join the European Union. They slashed their interest rates by close to 2%. Putin did something amazing in Russia. After 2 days of something like $40 billion in losses in the Russian stock market, the stock market closed. Putin on that Thursday then said no more capital gains taxes. Anybody that invests in the stock market gets any profits, gets them absolutely free, no capital gain taxes whatsoever. Their stock markets opened again and they went right through the roof. So the Russians are doing everything right. And the Russians have an unlimited amount of oil coming out of Siberia, paid off all their debts to the International Monetary Fund, kicked out Paul Wolfowitz and David Rockefeller and Citibank and Chase and everybody else out of Russia. And the next big conflicts you're going to see are going to be over whether or not Georgia and the Ukraine join NATO, because that puts us right back into a war or a conflict with the Crimean Peninsula. That was the whole Battle of Light Brigade. That was all Crimea at that time. So the internationalist bankers and the International Monetary Fund, they desperately want to get Russia back into another war because wars are expensive and they borrow money.